Welcome back to the podcast to Philippe. And, we love to go on these deep dives into new technology. And today we're talking about something pretty incredible, uh, a mine detecting drone.
Yeah.
And this isn't like some far off future concept.
Yeah.
This is a prototype that a French military engineering regiment has already developed, and it's being tested out in the field.
Mhm.
And what really blew me away was just how they've achieved this. When you think military tech, you think big, bulky, expensive machines.
Right.
But this is anything but.
Yeah, that's what's so fascinating about this. They've taken a commercially available drone, the Parrot and Afuway. I think some combat groups might even already be using this model, and they've just fitted it with a metal detector.
That's so clever. It's so ingenious. The whole thing weighs just over 300 grams.
Yeah, and they've really focused on that lightness and that durability,
Yeah.
They've used 3D printing to create this like honeycomb structure, which gives it that strength without the extra weight.
So you've got this incredibly lightweight drone that's also super durable.
Yeah.
But how does it actually work? I mean, what happens when you deploy it?
Well, are mainly using it for reconnaissance at the moment,
Clever.
scouting out areas where they suspect there might be mines or booby traps. So the drone operator controls it remotely, and they're watching a screen that shows the signal from the metal detector.
Right.
And if it picks up something metal, there's a sound that alerts the operator, and then they can get the drone closer to check it out visually.
So this little drone could be doing what's normally an incredibly dangerous job for a soldier,
Yeah.
going out and clearing minefields.
Exactly. It's all about reducing that risk to human life. Instead of putting soldiers in harm's way, you send this drone in to do that initial scouting and that identification. That's a game changer when we talk about keeping people safe.
And let's zoom out a little bit, because this isn't just a military problem, right? Landmines and unexploded ordnance, they're a problem all over the world, and they affect civilians as well as military personnel, long after conflicts have ended.
Absolutely. The impact is huge,
Yeah.
This kind of technology has the potential to save lives globally. And what's exciting is that it's not just some theoretical idea, it's a real working prototype. They call it the Système d'analyse dans la profondeur des engins explosifs,
Try saying that 5 times fast.
or SCP-2 for short, and it's already winning awards. They got a prize from the French École de Génie, their School of Military Engineering.
It's amazing, and it's really just the beginning, right?
Right.
They're already working on making this drone even lighter and even more effective.
Yeah, constantly refining it and exploring ways to make it even better.
It's incredible.
And it really highlights the kind of thinking that's happening in the military these days. They're not just waiting for big defense contractors to come up with every new gadget. They're encouraging this kind of innovation from people on the ground, the ones who are actually facing these problems in the field.
Makes you wonder what other problems could be solved with this kind of approach. Yeah.
Well, and what's really interesting here is that this technology, it's not limited to just detecting mines. This drone, it could be adapted for all sorts of things.
Yeah, we touched on this a little earlier, but I want to dive deeper into some of those potential applications, like search and rescue, for example.
Exactly. Imagine like an earthquake, building collapse. This kind of drone with its small size and maneuverability, it could be incredibly useful in a situation like that. Navigating through the rubble, potentially even locating survivors who might be trapped.
And you mentioned environmental monitoring, too. How could this drone be used in that area?
Well, instead of the metal detector, you could equip it with sensors that can detect different types of pollution, in the air or in the water. It could be used to survey areas that are difficult or dangerous for people to reach, gathering valuable data for environmental scientists.
And even things like wildlife conservation, right? Monitoring animal populations, tracking migration patterns.
Absolutely. In archaeology, too. Think about it. Using this drone to map out ancient ruins or identify potential big sites, that ability to detect variations in the ground composition could be really valuable for archaeologists.
It's amazing when you start thinking about all the potential applications. It really shows how a simple idea, like combining a drone with a metal detector, can lead to so many possibilities.
And it's not just about the technology itself, it's about what it enables. This mine detecting drone is a perfect example of how innovation can come from anywhere and how even something that seems simple can have a huge impact.
It makes you wonder what other innovations are out there just waiting to be discovered, maybe even right in front of us. This is why I love doing these deep dives. We get to explore these cutting-edge technologies and imagine what the future might hold.
And hopefully inspire our listeners to do the same, to think outside the box and come up with their own solutions to the problems they see in the world.
So for our listeners out there, this mine-detecting drone, it's a powerful example of how technology can be used to tackle real-world problems. And it's a reminder that innovation can come from anywhere, and that even the simplest ideas can have a profound impact. And it really highlights this trend that we've been seeing, right, of technology becoming more and more accessible. These tools that used to be so big and expensive and only available to governments or huge corporations, they're becoming smaller, lighter, more affordable, and that opens up so many possibilities.
Absolutely. And you know what that does? It empowers people, right? It empowers individuals, smaller organizations to make a difference. Like,
Yeah.
the mine detecting drone is just one example of what happens when you give people access to these kinds of tools.
It's inspiring. And, this is really just one step in a much longer journey.
Hmm.
Right? Technology is constantly advancing, and it's so exciting to think about what breakthroughs might be just around the corner.
Yeah, that's what keeps things interesting. That constant potential for discovery. We're really just getting started.
Well said. Well, a huge thank you to all our listeners for joining us on this deep dive into the world of the mine-detecting drone. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast If You Leap on YouTube for more deep dives into cutting-edge technology and innovative ideas. Until next time.